Greetings, Lemon Nation. I'm Monique Pressley here with The Week with Monique. I'm coming to talk to you today about the ongoing actions of the Trump administration and Elon Musk to tear away from us the things that matter the most to us for the people who matter the most to us, our children, their educations. If you haven't heard, yesterday, President Trump fulfilled another one of his hideous, horrendous, demonic campaign promises by signing an executive order attempting to abolish the Department of Education. Why am I saying attempting? I'll get to that a little bit later. But first, let me read for you a little bit of what he walked in and signed yesterday with children assembled around him for props. The Improving Education Outcomes by Empowering Parents, States, and Communities executive order. And it goes through all of the woes of what's happening in the educational system. It's no news to anybody that our educational system needs to improve, that our children need better quality education than what they've been currently getting, and that there are many things that the government could do to make that happen. But instead of doing any of those things, the answer of this president is to just completely wash the federal government's hands of their role, their responsibility for providing our children an education. He says in part, the Secretary of Education shall close the Department of Education and return authority to the states. The Secretary of Education shall, to the maximum extent appropriate and permitted by law, take all necessary steps to facilitate the closure of the Department of Education and return authority over education to the states and local communities, while ensuring the effective and uninterrupted delivery of services, programs, and benefits on which Americans rely. The B clause. Consistent with the Department of Education's authorities, the Secretary of Education shall ensure that the allocation of any federal Department of Education funds is subject to rigorous compliance with the federal law and administration policy, including the requirement that any program or activity receiving federal assistance terminate illegal discrimination obscured under the label diversity, equity, and inclusion, or similar terms and programs promoting gender ideology. They end with some whereas and some so forth, but they give no instructions on how the actions that are currently being handled by the federal government through the Department of Education are going to be disseminated to be handled through the states. No specific instructions about how every dime that's currently being spent on our children by the federal government will be handed to the states to ensure that there is continuity of services. No instruction whatsoever. Instead, they're adding this B clause where it looks like whether the federal assistance is going to continue or not depends upon whether it's considered DEI, whether it helps gender ideology, whether it passes muster based on this administration's own unique tests. Now, the part about the responsibility and the opportunity to educate our children going to the states, that might sound good to you. Or maybe you know that a large percentage of the funding for education is provided state by state by state. But you might not have any idea how much the federal government does through the Department of Education. You might not have any idea of how important it is, not just to people other than you, but to you, to your family, to your children. Did you know that the Department of Education controls a budget of $268 billion? That the Department of Education sends roughly $33 billion to public schools for low-income students and children with disabilities, $33 billion. Did you know that the department's Office for Civil Rights enforces laws that aim to prevent discrimination? That the department provides 12 million plus students with grants, loans, and work study programs? That it oversees 1.6 trillion in student loan debt? Now, before yesterday even happened, before that executive order saying, gut it, happened, they had already sliced and diced and eliminated thousands of employees. On January 20th, the Department of Education had 4,133 employees. Today, well, at least yesterday, roughly 2,183 employees. So that means if you've got a kid who's getting ready to go to college, you're filling out that FAFSA, you're trying to figure out what age you're going to be able to qualify for, what work study programs you're going to be able to get, all of the things that are processed through the federal government that are still going to be processed through the federal government, half the employees or less to try to get that done. Maybe you're one of the students who's depending upon disability services, or maybe you've just got a child in public schools. Did you know that 90% of American students go to public schools, and that 95% of students with disabilities go to public schools? Did you know that the budgets for services like art classes, music, after-school programs, Head Start, those funds are what the federal government is currently supplementing, roughly 20% of any state's budget? Did you know that 400,000 educator jobs are funded by the federal government? Now, I don't mind telling you, this is uniquely personal to me, not just because I have children, but because one of the millions of children who depend on the federal government's services, one of the 95% of students with disabilities who depend on IDEA services by the federal government, is my oldest child. For the past 17 years, since my son was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder, his father and I have been part of this rigorous, painful roller coaster of making sure that our son receives the free and appropriate public education that by law he is entitled to. So for us to have a president who frankly just doesn't give a damn about children with disabilities and ensuring that they get their services and making sure that even in all of this disruption, that the roughly $33 billion that's going to these schools in order to make sure that children on the spectrum, like my child or yours, that children who need speech therapy, who need occupational therapy, who need physical therapy, are getting those services, to make sure that they are treated with dignity and respect and that they are empowered to be able to live thriving lives, to receive education that is appropriate for them. We have a president of the United States who just says, I don't care. I don't care what the hell happens to you. I don't care what happens to your family. And there's 3 reasons for that. Maybe 4, but I'm going to give you 3. The first of which is we are dealing with the president of the United States who has no idea what it is to be you or to be me. There's a billionaire class of entitlement in this country, and specifically with this president and with his partner in crime, Elon Musk, that has no clue what it is like to have financial need and has no empathy, no compassion, no realm of understanding or desire to understand what it would mean to need something that money can't provide. So when they look out at us, they see a class that can be subbed, that can be oppressed, that can be kept low by not providing education, by not ensuring that our children have what they need to thrive. In no area do we see it more so than in the desire to keep us dumb. They want you stupid. They want you not knowing any better, because when you know better, you do better. And there is a class in this country that desires to maintain power at all costs. So when you see anti-intellectualism, that's what it is, rear its ugly head in this country, they want you dumb. No, they don't deserve the same education as anybody else. No, Kennedy Center, access to arts and culture, we're going to control that. That's what an autocrat does. That's what a totalitarian does. They desire to create an underclass, a class and caste system in which there's only one set of people who can get ahead, who can ascend, who can make money, who can keep money, and everybody else works for them. We can't let it happen. But the reason why I keep saying attempt, and I want you to understand that what Trump did yesterday, as hideous as it is, what he actually is trying to do is illegal. The Department of Education was founded through an enactment of law by the United States Congress, and it cannot be abolished except by action of Congress. And there are not enough votes, nor is there enough will in the House of Representatives and in the Senate to abolish the Department of Education, because those members know that their constituents, who are right now mad as hell, are going to be furious if this ever gets enacted. And that's their job security on the line. So no, he cannot legally abolish the Department of Education. And right now there are attorneys general like Tish James and others across the country who are filing lawsuits in order to prevent his efforts. But the pandemonium, the panic, the disruption of services, the lives of educators, the interruption of services as school systems are trying to plan their budgets, not knowing how much money they're going to have, the things that they're terminating right now, lunch for children who only get maybe the breakfast and lunch that they get at school because there's not enough money to eat at home, Head Start programs for poor communities, for low-income communities, black, white, brown. That's what's on the line. Services for disabled children. We have to stop him. And the National Education Association is asking for us to do 3 specific things. 1, call your House rep. You can text PROTECT to 48744 to get connected to your representative. The National Education Association will connect you and provide talking points. 2, you can share the information on social media. Help explain to friends and family why our students in schools need a fully operational Department of Education. You can visit NEA.org/protect, and you can share an article, a graphic, or a video. And 3rd, you can urge your friends to act. Ask them to text ACTION to 48744 for NEA updates and ways to take action. A quick text or email from you makes all the difference. If you're watching me now, you got a phone, you got the internet, you got a platform, please use it. So they can't make you dumb. So they can't keep you ignorant. Now's the time that we've got to fight back.
Thanks everyone for watching. Your support means the world to us. So make sure you hit the like button and you subscribe to our channel to make sure that you never ever miss a video. We're live every day, 10 a.m. Eastern time. We drop even more content at 2 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Eastern. And if you want more Don Lemon Show content, we'd love for you to become a member of the Lemon community, where you will receive access to special community posts. You'll get exclusive content and members only live shows. So head over to our channel page or click the join button on this video. Again, thank you for watching. We appreciate your love and your support, and we will see you next time.